The following is a Closet 501 production.
Hey everybody, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Elena.
And this is This Place Called Lubbock. So to give you a little intro into our podcast, we were thinking a lot about what we could do, and we've realized that not a lot of people really want to live here. And Elena got a soundbite that tells us just that.
Live in Lubbock your whole life?
Nobody wants to live in Lubbock their whole life.
And that actually seems to reflect the pretty average...
The majority
Okay,
of
yes,
people.
the majority of people. But Elena and I are actually both outsiders to this whole place called Lubbock.
Yes.
This place called Lubbock. So, Elena, why don't you tell them a little bit about you and why you're an outsider to Lubbock?
Yes, I will. So I moved here from Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, about a year and a half ago. And yeah, that's something that I very much noticed when I moved here.
Yeah.
It's definitely different than any other place that I've lived at. This Lubbock, Texas. A lot of people just, I don't know, they just want to leave.
Yeah, and there's just like a lot of funny Lubbock culture things that I think maybe people who are from here don't realize. I was talking to Elena about the Cotton Eye Joe that we do at like youth dances and stuff, and she goes, I don't know what you guys do here, but sometimes when we do the Cotton Eye Joe, I think I'm gonna die. And I was like, that's just how we do.
Yeah, here in Texas, there's a lot of different things that are different than like in Arizona.
Yeah, and I'm actually kind of an outsider to Lubbock too, but I've lived here a lot longer than Elena. Up till my third grade year, my family lived in Connecticut. We lived in Mansfield, Connecticut, and my dad got his PhD at UConn, and then we moved here so he could be a professor at Tech. So I've lived here for about 7 years now. So I'm like pretty used to Lubbock culture, but there were still some things like the amount of snow that they get here. That was really confusing because I moved here and everyone was like, we got 2 feet of snow last year. I couldn't even believe it. And I was like, we get 4 feet of snow every year.
See, and then with the freezes, well, like, I don't know, like the whole town like goes crazy. Like for like even the little bit of snow, or even if like it's a little freeze, like everything shuts down, like school is canceled. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
for sure. It's
we're
weird.
going driving. Like right now, I could drive to school very easily, but everyone gets like scared and freaks out.
But it's great. We love it.
Yes.
Let's keep canceling school. No, just kidding. But one of the things that Elena pointed out to me is that sometimes she'll say that Lubbock is a trap, and we've affectionately named it the Lubbock Phenomena. So tell the listeners, what's the Lubbock Phenomena?
Okay. The Lubbock Phenomena is basically people that have lived here all their lives, continue to live here all their lives, and their children grow up here and
Live here all
live
their
here
lives.
all their lives too. And when you move here, you get stuck here.
Affectionately called the Lubbock Trap or the Lubbock Phenomena,
Yes.
depending on your perception.
I love, whenever I meet new people, I like getting their backgrounds and being like, so how did you get stuck in Lubbock? Or like, I've definitely met some people like, they're like, oh yeah, I moved here. I went to Tech, was just studying. Then I met someone, we got married, and now we've lived here for 15 years. I don't know. I've met like a couple people like that.
And it's
already.
it's a reoccurring story. It really is. So Elena went and interviewed one of the people who we collectively consider the authority on being trapped in Lubbock. I mean, they're so Lubbock that they're actually cotton farmers.
Yes.
Nothing is more Lubbock than being a cotton farmer. So we started off, well, why don't you tell us a little bit about their family, Elena? Like just a little bit about them.
Okay, so their family, they've lived here like, well,
Forever.
for a long time. I think they're saying like their great grandfather.
Yeah,
moved
something
here.
crazy. I think we'll hear that from their interview.
Yeah, we will. But moved here, and then they have had their family farm for generations, and
Yeah.
they still own the property. I'm not sure if they work it. I think
I think they do.
Their aunt works it or
Yeah.
something like that. But I've
Still
been
growing
out there.
cotton.
Out into the nothing, I call it the nothing. It's basically just land and sky as far as you can see, which is pretty cool, but I call it the nothing because, you know, it's just,
Because there's nothing.
there's nothing. It's
In the most affectionate way possible. There's nothing.
Some would say beautiful. We'll hear it in
We'll
the
hear it
interview.
straight from them. But one of the first things that we called into question during our interview was in this place called Lubbock. In case you've never been to Lubbock, it's so flat and so nothing that all the dust just kind of blows and it's just everywhere. And there's actually a whole term for it. It's called a haboob. And basically it's like a dust storm, which normal people will never experience in their lives. But if you live here, you're going to experience it. So we caught up with Nancy Long and asked her a little bit about the haboob experience.
This is gonna be terrible. Everyone's gonna hate me after they hear this on the podcast. But I kind of love the dust storms and the storms they have there. Here, it's maybe, yeah, I love them. I love really love the landscape in my lake. People say it's flat, but I don't feel like it's that flat. I don't know. There's some hills.
Okay, I don't know about that. It's definitely that flat.
There's no hills.
There's no hills. There is no hills. Nancy has definitely lived here her whole life. But we both love Nancy. She's a good friend of both of ours, and she's great.
Yeah, can I actually go on a tangent about about the dust? So actually, the first time I came to Lubbock, we were visiting because we were trying to see if we want to move here. We were visiting for my dad's job interview. And actually, we visited in March, which is, yeah, people who live
Things
here,
went
know.
wrong from there.
Yeah, so it's the windiest time of the year. And it was so dusty. The sky was brown. The sky was literally brown, not blue at all. And I was like, I don't want to move here. I was like, bro, the dust and the wind. And I was like, this doesn't look pleasant. But... Well,
you live in Lubbock.
It was just a bad time to visit. March
That's
is
true.
just a bad time to visit. But after we moved here, I was like, oh, okay. No,
it's not always like that.
No, yeah, it's not always like that.
I was going to say, you live in Lubbock when you open up the weather app and the forecast. It's not sunny. It's not cloudy. It's dust. Literally dust. That's what my weather app says about March. Just dust.
Yes.
Well, we heard from one person at the beginning who told us how much they hated it. But Nancy actually kind of has a different perspective, and that's one of the things we're trying to explore in this podcast. Is we know a lot of people have very strong opinions about how terrible it is, and that's fair. There are definitely some things that we don't love about Lubbock. There's a lot of things that aren't great about Lubbock, and that's just kind of a fact. But there's also a lot of great things. So we asked Nancy a little bit about what she thinks about if she'd live here permanently or just anything like that.
Of Lubbock?
I don't know. I feel I personally love Lubbock, and I haven't always loved Lubbock. I really, really used to hate Lubbock, so much, but now I really love it, and I love to be here, so it just depends where my future takes me.
That's some honesty there.
That's so true. And, I think that's the heart of the Lubbock phenomena is people, they hate it, but then it grows on them. Lubbock, it grows on you.
Or does it grow on you?
I think
because nothing grows here.
Oh.
Lubbock might grow on you. Nothing else will grow here except for cotton.
I was about to say that.
Just
except for cotton. No, because definitely me. I hated it here, like I said. But then now I'm like,
it's growing on you, Elena.
I like it. And now I'm like, dang it, I'm gonna get stuck here. It's happening.
It's okay. You can go to college somewhere else. But one of the things that's interesting about the Lubbock phenomena is sometimes it grows on you, and sometimes you grow up here. So we went and interviewed Nancy's mom, and we just wanted to hear a little bit about what she had to say about her family and how they got here and just everything with that.
His whole life. In fact, he's lived in the same square mile his entire life. He's
crazy.
71, and then my granddad is the one that moved here with my grandmother, his new wife. In 1948, they moved to the Slide community, and then about a year later, they moved to Woodrow, which is where I grew up. They lived there. So he's 95 right now, and still lives there,
which is totally crazy.
I love that though. He's 95 and still lives in the same house. That's that's pretty cool.
It's pretty incredible, just with everything that their family's been here for forever, and they've just been here for.
Well, just think of everything they've lived through, because of
That's crazy. Just to think of that time span. That's 75 years.
They've probably seen Lubbock change a lot because of what it used to be, of this little hometown. Cotton based little like Lubbock town, and now it's like a city. Like, it's pretty cool.
It is pretty incredible. So just to end the podcast, we know that a lot of people hate it.
Yes.
It's a valid point. And there's a lot of
dust, flat, nothing to do here. Except there's
nothing to see here.
Prairie dogs, though.
Prairie dog town. But we wanted to end with just something else to just remind us that there are some good things here. And it'll kind of tie into why we made our logo the way we did.
I know it's not always beautiful, and a lot of times it's dusty and hot and dry, but to me, when I like have those moments of like golden hour where I can just see the beauty in the sky and just feel the peace and quiet, like there's no better place than that's home for me. So,
and I just really love that. I think it's great to hear that there's some bad things, but there's some good things too that you can find here.
I agree. I definitely agree.
So thanks for listening, guys. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Elena.
And this is This Place Called Lubbock.
Welcome to The Spots, our first episode. I'm Diego Molinar.
And I'm James Pennington.
With my co-host James Pennington. Heard him yourself. Behind the camera, we have Jaden Lopez. Couldn't have done it without y'all. Really appreciate y'all's cooperation. So, we are a audio-video podcast out of Lubbock ISD TV station. And we're out of the Byron Martin ATC building. And we come to bring you the spots around Lubbock County. And we go around Lubbock County, well, mainly Lubbock, and we look at the local attractions in the city. We tell you what you need to know so that we give you recommendations. Maybe you can go try it out. Whoever's watching, if you want to go look at it, we leave addresses, sometimes phone numbers if we can get them. So that's going to start our first episode, so let's get straight into it. So for today's spot, it's going to be Addle-Do Farms, located at 6323 FM 1294 Lubbock 79415. On the website, it said to make sure to put in the PIN number. So if you're looking for it, then that's what you got to put in the PIN. And so just a quick overview of the whole thing. It's a huge attraction in Lubbock, and it's super popular in the fall when it gets a little colder, and whenever it starts getting colder, it really picks up. And it's known for its corn maze, and that's the main attraction. That's huge. Everybody goes there for the corn maze, and it's usually around this time the biggest attraction. And it was started by James and Patty Simpson. They started farming on the land in 1987, and it's been owned by Patty's family for generations now.
1999 cycle was at a low period, and they started thinking of ways to diversify an activity on agricultural land for recreational purposes, or educational maybe, if you want to go there to learn.
Right, and when it was that low period, they stumbled upon something called agritourism. And agritourism is exactly what you just said, James. Read it off my mind. And it's just an activity on agricultural land that it benefits educational and recreational purposes. And it's something you do if you want to get out there into the nature. If you love nature, then this is the spot to go to. And it was never just originally like this. It took so much time. And like I said, it started with farming. Like, this was never thought to be a corn maze and like all this stuff, like to make it to where people want to be there now. That it was never like that until they stumbled upon agritourism. And it was at that point in the low cycle, like you were saying, James, that they started the maze. Mm-hmm. And that's the most famous part of it. That's the most memorable part of it. When you go there, you think of the maze. And the maze started in 2000. And it quickly turned into a family business. It has their family, James, Eric, Emily, Allison, and Jonathan working on it. And it quickly became a huge Lubbock County sensation. Have you ever went, James?
Oh yeah, I went there in 2012. I barely remember anything of it, but it was very cool. I got lost a lot in the maze. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big maze, and if you look on the website, they have the pictures of all the recent stuff that we were looking at, and there's some great stuff. It takes a lot of time and a lot of planning, actually, to really get those images and bring them to, like, life, and it's all 3D. Some people don't know what they're walking through in the maze, and it's truly unbelievable. It's super impressive. And we're speaking on the corn maze a lot because that's really popular, but it's not to be overlooked. They have other stuff. They have the Fairy Tale Trail. That's another mini maze for kids. You want to speak on that a little bit?
Oh yeah, the Fairy Tale Trail is very magical. I think I remember it back in 2012 whenever I visited. It was very magical, and everything was very kiddie.
Yeah,
like childish,
exactly. Yeah. And it's more for families. It's more for families that bring their kids to this attraction that don't want to do the big maze because that can get tiring, and it's hard. The maze is hard, don't get me wrong. They give you a map, but even with that, it's still hard. So they made this Fairy Tale Trail for the families. And even if you don't bring your family with you, you could still go in it. Anyone can go in the maze, but this one is just a little easier, a little shorter too. And then they also have the cow train for families as well. For the kids, that you get put on a tractor type of thing, and you can go on a ride, and it's like a little tour of the whole attraction because it's a big, huge farmland that we're talking about here, and they're just giving you a free tour of all of it. Have you ever been on the cow train?
Oh yeah, I've been there. I remember it being very cold there in the morning time. It was very chilly. I couldn't stay still. I was shaking all the time.
Right, and of course they prepare when it's cold. They have the concession stand as well with finger foods, hot chocolate, drinks, and of course, it wouldn't be a corn maze without edible corn you can eat at the concession stand. And did you want to speak on the Hayride Pumpkin Patch, James?
Oh yeah, the Hayride Pumpkin Patch was it was very cool. It was very magical.
Yeah.
Very magical. It was I think they got the pumpkins just a few hours out of town.
Yeah, yep.
And yeah.
So yeah, it's a pumpkin patch is what it is, and you go on a big John Deere tractor to the pumpkin patch from the main site. Everything is all on the main site except for this here. It's just cool to be there.
Yeah,
and it's cool. It's just such a family setting, and it's so family friendly. Anyone can go, and it's just a great spot to be at in Lubbock. If you have a family and this interests you in any way, I would definitely recommend Addle-Do Farms. It's just everyone there has heart for the kids. Everyone there knows what they're doing it for. It's not for the money. It's not for anything. It's for the pure joy and excitement, and it's for the smiles that brings on kids' faces that maybe they don't have a lot. Mm-hmm. And it's not too expensive to get in. I think it's like $5 for students,
mm-hmm.
and it's just $5 to get you great experience. Maybe, like I said, educational and recreational purposes. This is a great spot. Did you want to break us out of this? Go ahead.
Outro?
Yeah, the outro. Go ahead.
So this is the conclusion to the podcast, and we've been talking about the
farm.
Yeah, the Alto Maize Farm,
Mm-hmm.
Corn Farm, and it was just so good to do this, and we just wanted to like advertise it and promote it even more because there might be a lot of people that don't know what it is, and it's very cool, very magical, very family-friendly. It's wholesome, very wholesome.
and it's definitely where you want to go when it gets colder out. This is the setting you want to be. This is like a setting you see in movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is where movie characters go, and it's just awesome to experience that. So if you're going to go anywhere, go to Addle-Do Farms. Again, the address is 6323 FM 1294, Lubbock, Texas 79415. And that'll be it. I'm Diego.
I'm James.
We appreciate you watching the spots.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome into the latest edition of what used to be called Time Out with Mr. Ward. Today, going under a new name. It's now going to be called Coffee with Mr. Ward because, well, if you know me, I'm slightly obsessed with coffee. Today, my first guest joining me here is Caleb Galbraith, the great Caleb Galbraith. Caleb, thanks for jumping on the show with me today.
Yes, sir. Anytime.
So Caleb has gone through this already once. This is something I like to do in my class where it's kind of an open conversation. That's why I call it Coffee with Mr. Ward, because if you've ever been to like a coffee shop or anything like that, it's a lot of conversations and a lot of, a good time, time. And so this is something I do in my class where it allows all of the different perspectives from students where we talk about some motivational things and possibly things in our future, maybe some careers. So let's get into Coffee with Mr. Ward. So common routes, this is what I want to talk about. You know, the real world and the AV world, there's a lot of different things and different angles you could take. Of course, you got journalism. That's something that we focus on in the second year program is telling stories and going out and focusing on that. You got the filmmaking world. It's something that you might be a little interested in.
I have just a little bit of experience.
Agency and studio, of course, we have some alum, your friend Jeremiah Brents, that went on in the agency world to work in the agency and selling advertising, and of course the internal world, which technically Lubbock ICTV could be a part of that that realm. For you, Caleb, where do you aspire to be? Because they say 10 years from now you'll be great at from whatever you've been doing for the last 10 years. What do you see Caleb Galbraith doing?
Well, funny story. I got into LICTV because they put that first word there, audio, video production.
Audio.
And I'm a musician. I play piano for...
As you could tell, he's got the special headphones on, too.
Yeah, I do. I might like audio just a little bit. But I always wanted to do music, so I got into this thinking, it might be audio production. But then I realized it's not that.
It's video.
But that's good.
It's making you a Swiss Army knife.
It
is.
You
can do it all.
And I've learned that in this industry especially, you have to be good at a lot of different things. You have to have a big portfolio. That's a word for you guys out there. Portfolio of all the different skills and things you can do. Because even if you don't use all of those things, they look good to employers that you have a lot of experience. And you can be flexible in a lot of different areas if you need to. But where I see myself, hopefully working with a label or studio as a producer, producing music, hopefully full-time.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
Content creator goes along with that too. Those are pretty simultaneous. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
He's already trying to get to Lipscomb University. I filled out some more paperwork yesterday, and so
sure did. Yep.
I wish him best of luck. Now, if you want to work in the production world, I have, being the sports guy, you have your keys to victory.
Of course.
Right? And so here are my keys to victory to being able to work in the production world. Number one is specialize. We tell our students you need to be a Swiss Army knife, but Caleb's specializing in audio, right? He sees a future in audio, and you know the ins and outs of all the auditions and all the different editing worlds. Show up on time. That's a big one. You got to be able to have your face in the place on time. Of course, hustle. I think I'm a big believer in be the hardest working person in the room. And then, of course, be a good hang. Be able to hang out with everybody. And because if they remember you, they will bring you back.
They will.
Do you agree with these 4 keys to if you want to work in the production world?
Actually, I have gone and talked to some industry professionals in this world. They've worked with producers, huge names in labels. And that's the one thing they said across all the things is be a likable person. Like, you could have the same set of skills as another person. Like, that's not hard to do, is have the same set of skills. But if the labels, if the people they're trying to work with like you better, they will choose you every time.
They'll keep calling you back.
Yeah, they'll keep calling you back.
And that goes across all worlds. If you want to do sports production, if you want to do audio production, if you want to be a stagehand, that's it. They're your 4 keys to victory. Something I'd also talked about with my class, and you kind of saw it as we were getting ready for this podcast here today with Coffee with Ward, the debut episode, is 99% execution, 1% idea, right? We come up with ideas all the time, but can we go out there and execute them? It happened with you at State multiple times, and it's so hard,
that's what
right?
I was going to talk about, yeah. I don't know if you're going to show some of my short films here, but
I definitely can.
The ideas are not always perfect. Like, literally, my idea with Jeremiah Brents was we're going to buy a fish and see where it goes from there. That got us 3rd place at State. So don't think that you have to have some perfect idea of what you want to do. Be creative, of course, but ultimately make something that you know you can do, that you know you can put that 99% of effort into. Because if something's unfeasible, it's never going to happen. Like, know your limits, know how far you can go, and then shoot for that.
Absolutely.
And go beyond that. Yeah.
So the next slide here, great stuff there by Caleb, is you will go where you're looking. Look where you want to go, not where you're trying to avoid. Yeah. Thoughts on that one, Caleb?
This is just basic psychology, guys. Our brains do not focus on the negative. So if you're a skier going down a slope, you're thinking, don't hit the trees, don't hit the trees, don't hit the trees.
You're gonna hit the tree.
You're gonna hit the tree, man. You got to think about the path in front of you. Can't be thinking about the obstacles to the side. Can't get distracted. That's a big deal, especially today. Cannot get distracted. So,
see, this is why we do this, right? This is we do this in my class. We sit down and we talk, and we have fake coffee cups because I know the boss man seeing these cups right next to our expensive audio equipment is probably slightly worried. So, continuing on with the slides, though, it's collaborate with others, compete with yourself, and this is something that I do a lot. I always look at myself in the mirror and think to myself, where could I be better? How could I keep growing? Because if you don't have goals, right, you kind of stop. Yeah. And you're stagnant. And if you want to keep growing and getting better in your life, in my opinion, you got to keep competing with yourself and keep setting new goals.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I can speak to, again, going to state for short film. The competition gets harder every single year, it feels like.
Every year.
And it's just a result of more people getting plugged into this, seeing, I don't know, like yearning for that success almost at that state level. It's a really big deal. So going back last year, and seeing some of those submissions that were at the district level, it was daunting. It was like how are we going to do this? Like I feel like we can only go so far. But that's, I think, when we had to realize we've made things that are good before. Let's make something even better.
Take it to that next level.
Yeah, take it to that next level.
And you do that by hard work, commitment, and all that different stuff. And also this, time times intensity equals results.
Yes.
Right? If you spend the time and you're intentionally focused on it, you will get the results that you want. And that's something that we preach here.
A term they use in the production world is you got to put in your 10,000 hours. I think there's some study that was done or some book that was written where, like, if you put 10,000 hours into something, you'll become a master or professional at it. So you got to put in that work. You got to be both confident in what you can do, but also humble enough to know that there's always going to be someone better than you. And if you don't put in the time, you're not going to see the efforts that you think you want or think you deserve.
Okay, I'm going to got another one for you. You ready for this? Habits are greater than goals. Do you feel like the habits that your day in, your day out routine is greater than the goals that you're trying to achieve?
Yes. I'll come back at that and say that focus is more important than time.
Okay.
So you could spend an hour sitting there trying to crank out a video, but if you're not focused on it, it's not going to be good.
Right.
So if you set up habits to where you can spend more focused time on the things that you're pursuing, you will achieve your goals, and it'll be less. I feel like so many times, especially with state competitions, you go in, and it is like really stressful, and you're stressing. Okay, there's this time that I've got to turn in. I've got to get all my stuff done by this point. A lot of times you can just sit down and get back to like actually making the thing and just be focused on the creative aspect, the thing that you like about whatever you're doing. That's going to keep you plugged in for longer. It's going to make you have to take less breaks. It's, again, like if you can have more focus on the thing you're doing, it's going to be way easier for you instead of trying to, like, I don't know, have like some big ambitious goals you're trying to make good habits of working consistently.
Good habits. And the habits are vital to being able to have success. All right. So a lot of times content creators nowadays, and that's what we are. We live in the world where we create content. You want to go viral, right? That seems to be a lot of trends with the younger students, is that my goal is I want to be popular. I want to be viral. I want to be the next person that gives away all these great things like Mr. Beast or something along those lines. But I teach my students to ignore the views, ignore the likes, because viral equals temporary, right? You fall just as fast as you went up. And that's something that we got to preach, right? Exactly. Is that, viral's temporary.
And another thing about that, you can make a lot of money and not be popular. Like if that's what you're shooting for, is to have a secure financial career, you can do that without being extremely popular. And honestly, that should be the most important thing. The most important thing should be doing something you believe in, something that you're passionate about, more so than the money. But yeah, you can do something meaningful with your life without reaching 1 million views or whatever your like superficial goal is. Like you can do big things without all that. So.
Absolutely. So we're going to end this podcast here today, the Coffee with Ward, and with this final question, okay? You're going to be good 10 years from now. You're going to be really good at whatever you're doing for the next 10 years. Challenge you guys to get out there and find your passion, find your calling, and practice hard at it. Find good habits. Reach the goals. Be focused. And I feel like this was a really good opening for Coffee with Ward.
Yes, sir.
This is the kind of questions that we pose our students here at LISD TV. We sit there and we talk about it and kind of make it like a coffee setting. We should have gone all out with the coffee setting, but that's all right. We could have done it right. We'll end it with this. Come on. There we go with our fake empty cups. We appreciate you for tuning in to Coffee with Mr. Ward. We'll see you next time.
Go out and make something amazing today. Bye.